and welcome to The View from the Top. It is July the 17th. It is Wednesday. Pankaj is in the house from Bangalore. Christy is backstage with us. She's going to be on the show. People are coming in from all over the world, and we've got such an important show for you. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about managing a mega program. And what do I mean by a mega program? I'm not talking about a program that's got 10 assignees or 50 or 100 or 200 or 300 or 1,000. We're talking about a program where there are literally tens of thousands of moves a year. And not just that, but these are moves to, in many cases, really remote locations, including literally the middle of the ocean. So we're going to be talking with the good folk from Siemens Gamesa. We've got Kirsten Meyerhoff and Nerea Egior in the green room with us. They're backstage. They're going to be coming on. It's going to be a fantastic show. If you've got questions, you know how it works. Please ask them any questions you've got. It is, as Sandra says, she says she's mega excited, and well, you might be, because it's going to be a mega program and indeed a mega show. So you know how it works. Everybody, please join in the conversation. Write in the comments box. Tell us who you are, where you are, what's going on. As Beth says, what a great topic. Looking forward to the show. And not only is it a great show, but of course you also get your CPE credits. So if you want your CPL credits from Worldwide ERC, WERC, they're up there. If you want them from HRCI or from SHRM, again, they're up there. And many thanks to our good friends at Rocket Mortgage who help us get those credits. So that's this week. What about next week? Well, next week, we've also got a really interesting show. Next week, we're talking about the evolution of the global mobility industry from what it was like over 70 years ago to how it has evolved to what it is today. I'm really excited and indeed honored that our very special guest next week is going to be the oldest guest we've ever had on this show. Fred Piker is an amazing 92 years young and worked in global mobility back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And not only have we got Fred Piker, but we've got his son, Mike Piker, who's also worked in global mobility industry, in his case, in the 80s, 90s, and up to the moment. And they're going to be, and they've even worked together, and they're going to be talking about how mobility has changed over the last 70 to 75 years. It is going to be a fantastic show. So that's next week. What I want to do now is just tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the last 7 days. What is our breaking news? What has happened in the wonderful world of global mobility in the last 7 days? Let's have a look. Well, what about that? Lots of people have been promoted this week, lots of people who've got new jobs, and there's lots of job opportunities out there. So if next week you want to share some news, maybe you've been promoted, maybe you've got a new job, or indeed you've got a job opening that you want to have filled, then please let us know the details and we'll try and promote it on the show. So there's lots of great jobs out there. I particularly fancy the one at the National Basketball, the NBA. I think I might go for that one myself. So anyway, lots of really good stuff out there. We're now going to move on to talk about immigration. And as ever, I'm really excited that we have with us the wonderful Julia Onslow Cole. So everybody, you know how it works. Hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button, and let's say a really big welcome to Julia Onslow Cole.
Hi, Brian.
Julia, great to see you. Okay, so where in the world are we today? What are we going to be talking about?
Yes, so we're going to talk about the US election and impacts of the US election. Wanted to just give a huge shout out to our Fragaman team in Washington that have amazing finger on the pulse there. And thank you particularly to Bo Cooper and Eddie Raleigh. I'm basically going to talk about 3 things that will certainly happen, whatever the result of the election. So there's 3 things we can be really certain about. And then I'm just going to say, what should we think about doing? Now, the election's not until November. I've only got a couple of minutes to talk today, 3.5 minutes. But I am going to repeat this because it is, an update and refresh as we get towards November, because it's a hugely important topic. And also, obviously the elections in the news, what with the US presidential debate a couple of weeks ago, which generated all that discussion about whether, it was right that Biden, has the lead in the Democratic ticket. And also Democrats' ticket, and also, with the tragic events in Pennsylvania. So it's very, very topical. So there's 3 things that whatever happens, we can be really sure about. The first is that whatever happens, what happens in the election is hugely consequential to immigration policy, US immigration policy from 2025. And we know what the President Biden, or if it's President Biden or President Trump, we know what they will be thinking, because they had to set out in the executive orders at the beginning of their administrations what their view was on immigration. And President Biden felt that immigration was a very good thing. It was actually helping the growth of America. And he felt that the government's job in the US was to manage it and help it be an effective tool to promote growth. President Trump, however, in his executive order said he thought that immigration was a threat, and that, the way that the administration would look at it was in that light. Now, really, they've set that out. Very opposing. And it's very going to be the same, isn't it? They're not going to change those big, the big divides in their view. So that's the first thing that we can be certain about. The second thing is we can almost be certain that there's going to be no major immigration legislation in the next government in the US, because Congress has been at an impasse. We haven't had any immigration legislation for many years now. So it's almost certain that that's not going to happen. However, we have seen both administrations make very effective use of sub-regulatory means. So what they've done is they've produced executive orders. They have slowed things down or sped things up. They have tweaked different policies. They have lessened fees or increased fees. And in this manner, you can actually, increase scrutiny, increase compliance, decrease scrutiny, decrease compliance. So in this way, you can actually change a huge amount without having the power to make any legislation. So that's the second thing. And the final thing, which is certain, is that there will be a theme through both administrations on protecting US workers. And we've seen that in the Biden administration, very much, protecting US workers, except in Biden's case, We've seen, national interest waivers, which have allowed employers to employ people that they need, particularly with STEM skills, without having to advertise. And we've seen, more relaxation on the O1s. But if we move to a Trump administration, that's unlikely to continue. But the basic theme of protection is the same. So those are the three things that will inevitably happen. So what can we be thinking about now? So if you're an employer, you have a lot of people in the US, you should actually be looking at all of those people now, and you should be looking forward at what your needs are. Is it possible to bring forward any moves to the US whilst things are as they are? One of the big things that happened with President Trump was all the travel bans. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about what travel your people might need? And are there things that you could do to kind of lessen impacts? And if you start applications, there is something called a reliance argument that, you relied on that, or the person relied on that. So, it might be that even if the whole application isn't completed by the time of the election, that's some protection. So that's my update for this week. It's very short and sweet, but I think it's, Pankaj is kindly saying he was talking to some of the frag apartments. Yes, or they're mentioning how hard I make them all work. How terrible. No, that's not true. Gosh, Pankaj, pleased to be my friend.
You make you sound like a hard taskmaster, but Julia, it's been amazing having you on the show. On behalf of everybody in the industry, we really do appreciate the updates.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Bindu.
For several years now we've been doing this. I think we're getting
we have.
Years we've been going now. So many thanks. We're now going to move on. We've got our change maker for the week, Christy Castillo, backstage. We're going to bring her on. So everybody, you know how it works. Let's hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button. Let's say a big, big thank you to Julia Onslow-Cole, and let's welcome to the stage Christy Castillo. Hey, Christy, welcome to the show. Welcome. And where are you from today? Where are you working from?
Thank you, Brian. I am in Denver, Colorado.
Nice. Okay, so tell us a bit about yourself. How did you get into this industry? And what is Vir Biotechnology? Tell us a bit about the company as well.
Yeah. So, I started out in HR, I think like a lot of us, where I was not in global mobility. And early on in my career was given the opportunity to support the mining division of what's now AECOM. And that gave me exposure to the expatriate world and all the different aspects of international work that entails. And I then have worked for what is now Jacobs and Newmont Corporation, which is a large gold mining company. And
all companies, a bit like when we got onto Siemens, all companies that are sending people to, many difficult locations around the world.
Yes. Yeah. Everything from, the South Pacific, doing U.S. Federal work, to mine locations in very remote areas of the world. So it's been really, really unique. I've not worked with a mega program, but I've always been part of larger programs where we've been moving hundreds of people a year. So,
yeah, I mean, some of those names you mentioned, they've got pretty chunky programs themselves. But tell us about Vir Biotechnology.
Yes. So Vir is a biotechnology company that focuses on infectious diseases based out of San Francisco. So I'm part of a small program, very, very small program, but I'm excited to be in a completely different industry from what I'm used to. And we do great work with various infectious diseases and looking for vaccines. We focus on HIV, the flu, Hep D, Hep B. So a lot of great work that we're doing.
Wow. Okay. Well, all kudos to them for all the great work that they're doing. Now, tell me, I mean, you're passionate about technology. Tell me what you like about being a change maker.
I love, obviously, the networking and being able to connect with my peers, but I think it's also fabulous that we get to have insight into the technology that you're developing at Benivo and to be able to give that feedback. Technology is the backbone of being able to run a lot of our programs, especially when they are larger or mega. And so it's fabulous work that's being done.
Okay. And your charity of choice is Talent Beyond Boundaries, who in fact we had on the show just last week. But tell us about why you picked them as your charity.
I chose them. So I was an expat myself in Abu Dhabi at the time that the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were going on. And, so I got a front seat to a lot of the refugees and things that were taking place at that time. And it's just such a special way to be able to support individuals that are being misplaced. And I think that, there's so many of them that are well-educated, extremely smart. And I love that it's a way to support them in getting settled and finding gainful employment.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being one of our change makers. We really, really do appreciate it. And if anybody out there would like to become a change maker, we've got, I think we've got about 170 now, but we're looking to grow the change maker network. If you're running or you're involved with a program, a global mobility program as a corporate, it's in-house people only, sadly, then please do approach Tally, and we'll see if we can get you into the change maker network. And as part of the if you like, the deal is that the change makers help us with giving their thoughts on technology, but also we support a charity of their choice. And every week or every other week, we highlight a particular charity. And this week it was Christy highlighting her charity, which is the wonderful Talent Beyond Boundaries. We're now going to move on, and I'm just so excited. I'm bursting with excitement. We're going to be talking about how you manage a mega program with the wonderful Kirsten Meyerhoff and Nerea Egior from Siemens Gamesa. So everybody, you know how it works. I know you're going to have lots of questions, by the way, and feel free to ask them as we go through with them. But you're going to have loads and loads of questions. So everybody, hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button. Let's say a big thank you for Christy Castillo for being a change maker, and a big welcome to the stage to Kirsten Meyerhoff and to Nerea Egior. Hey, Kirsten. Hey, Nerea. How great to have you on the show. I'm sure there's going to be loads of questions, and you guys have been so kind. You've also said that we can actually show a live demo of some of the technology you're using as we go through the show. But let's just start off. Kirsten, if I may start with you, tell us who you are and tell us a bit about Siemens Gamesa.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be on the show. So my name is Kirsten Meyerhoff. I work for Siemens Gamesa, and I'm responsible for compensation and benefits and also for global mobility. So we run a full global mobility global program with, as you were saying, thousands of moves every year. And we will talk about this a lot more during the show. From a personal note, so I'm, as you could see in the picture, I'm from Germany. I have 2 boys and also a crazy dog living near Hamburg. Yeah, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
It's just wonderful to have you on the show. And then we've got Nerea as well. And Nerea, you work with Kirsten at Siemens Gamesa. But tell us about yourself.
Okay, so it's very curious because I studied psychology, and don't ask me why, but I ended working in global mobility topics. Yeah, I mean, I started working in HR department, working in recruiting, talent, these kind of things. And more or less 11 years ago, also in Siemens Gamesa, and 11 years ago, I joined the global mobility team. And since then, I mean, this has been really a challenge because the company has changed a lot. The global mobility world has changed a lot. Yeah, so it's really a challenge.
And you're based in Pamplona, I believe.
Yeah, it's a very small city in the north of Spain.
Okay. Oh, you don't realize the post-traumatic stress disorder I'm getting. Speaking to a Spaniard and a German just brings back memories of Sunday night and my precious England losing to Spain in Germany. So it's like everything's coming together from for those out there who support soccer. But anyway, fantastic match, and the best team definitely won. But so great to have you both here. So tell me, I mean, I think everybody will know Siemens. I mean, it's hugely well-known company, but Siemens Gamesa itself is a very huge company and is maybe not quite as well known. So tell us exactly what Siemens Gamesa does, because I know you guys are just beyond massive.
Yeah, so I mean, compared to Siemens, no, so we are still small, but you know, so we are a big company. We are about 25,000 people in around 70 countries. And we are building turbines. We are building onshore turbines, so turbines on land, but also offshore turbines in the sea. You know, mostly our experience, people come from Europe, so we are sending them around the world to install the turbines in the different countries. And that's why our global mobility program is also very crucial to the business. And also we are really at the heart of the business because our people need to be billable. They need to install the turbines, and we have to make sure that they are on time to go on the boat, to go on the vessel in order to build.
Well, here we have one of these vessels. So tell me what I'm looking at now.
So here you can see a vessel which has 3 nacelles on there. So these things, the 3 things that you can see are kind of the part that is combining the tower of the wind turbine with the long blades. So I guess, you know, so when you drive on a highway, sometimes you pass a blade, and if you've done that, you can see how long it takes. No, so and that shows you how long such a blade is. They are really massive, and when we see these operations here on the sea, it's a dangerous job. It's also very physically exhausting, and when we are putting the blades into the nacelle, they have less than a centimeter of discrepancy. Also, and you can imagine if the ship is moving and you have to lift such a blade, and then it's, you know, you have to hit the nacelle within a centimeter. It's a challenging job every day.
So let's just understand, if you like, the life of one of your engineers. So Nerea, tell me about what their life is like. I mean, they're sort of going out and back. I mean, tell me a bit what their life is like.
Well, it depends, because we have, I mean, it's not exactly the same pattern for everybody. We have onshore employees or the onshore business unit, but we have technicians working on site. And then, but it depends. And also we have these offshore employees, and some of them are also working in these rotators, 15 days in, 15 days out, others. So it's not exactly the same for everybody.
Basically going 15 days, so two weeks thereabouts. They're going on they're staying on that ship or a ship like that.
Exactly.
Then they come
living
back,
there.
and it's physically very hard work, and they're literally in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
nowhere.
And sometimes, presumably, they're in national waters, but quite often they're in sort of international waters. So you don't even know which. You got to work out which jurisdiction they're in, presumably.
Exactly, and this is something that we need to keep in mind for the travel assessment, because it's not exactly the same when we are working on with this platform for the travel assessment. We need to keep in mind where the employee exactly is going to be, because we need to keep in mind all these kind of things. Yeah.
Okay, and Kirsten, I mean, I know Siemens, and we're very, very grateful. Siemens Gamesa are clients of Benivo, and you use our platform, and we'll come on to that at some point. But before you did, you were managing things through Excel spreadsheets, I believe. Tell us a bit about, if you like, the difference between then and now, and how technology has helped.
Yeah, so when I started to take over the function, also we were trying to manage all the moves that we have, and also with an Excel sheet. Also, we had a huge Excel sheet that many people.
I can't imagine how big this Excel sheet was. I mean, it must be the biggest Excel spreadsheet in the world.
You better not imagine. Also, it had like thousands of lines and almost as many columns.
Because to put it in context, I think you were saying you move. I mean, in terms of actual trips, there's maybe tens, because people are doing multiple trips a year. So you're talking about tens of thousands of trips every year.
Exactly. And also, so the short-term assignments also are 6,000 to 8,000 a year, and also, but then they go on the ship, so it might be even more trips within the assignment, and we have to capture all of them. And then we also are managing and helping the business travelers with travel assessments also, and that is even even more people here. Okay. But when we had the Excel sheet, also it was hard to know where the process is for each and every employee. So has a service been initiated with the downstream services in the immigration team, and also where are the tax services, and also all these things were kind of a black box. And when we wanted to know a status, we always had to ask like 4, 5, 6 different teams to get different answers mostly, and then we had to make the truth out of it. So, and when we now look at what happened when we now have Benivo in place, and also we have one single entry point where employees are tracking their travel, they get a travel assessment, they get the assessment back into the tool. From there, the managed service team can pick up the service need and is initiating the service, and there the employee can also see where the service is, what is the next step, is information requested from them, do they have to deliver anything to get the process moving.
So this makes it quite a lot easier for the employee themselves, because a lot of the processes can be automated and they don't have to enter the same information more than once.
And I was about to say this, and also we have a integration with our HRMS system, so with Workday, and also a lot of the information that the employee beforehand had to enter every time again is now available in the tool. Also, we brought in automation for the invitation letter if that is needed, so that can be downloaded and there's no manual interaction in the tool. And also that's created by the tool. The assignment letter is also created in the tool, and when people need their job certificate, which is our global travel insurance, they can also download this directly. So it's a lot more self-service for the employee, and also they don't have to wait for someone. They can act themselves and get their travels moving.
And I know one thing you've done, which is very cool, and maybe Nerea, you could just tell us a bit about it, is that because your people are in quite remote locations, and also they're doing hard physical work, very intense work, they don't have a lot of downtime, you've actually got the concept of proxies. So tell us a bit about what a proxy is and how that works, because that's not a concept that many people will be familiar with.
Exactly. This is something that it was necessary for us. It was very important to implement this, because sometimes when the employee is in the middle of the ocean, or sometimes when they are traveling, they have a lot of travelers with short of notice. They definitely need the support of someone else to manage their trips. So the employee have the possibility, the option to, let's say, to set up a proxy, and this proxy can manage the employee trips on the employee behalf, on his behalf or her behalf. So then it's much easier for the employee with this proxy.
Okay, and from an employee experience point of view, and I know part of your role is communications and change management. How important and what has been the change in employee experience?
Wow, yeah. Here the communication and training was very, very important because for different reasons. Basically, or the first thing is that at Siemens Gamesa, any employee is eligible to travel. Maybe not now, but maybe in the future. So we have, let's say that all the training and communication actions have to be cross-cutting and have to be multi-channel to ensure that goes to everybody in the company. Also, keeping in mind what we said before about these technicians, so we need to keep in mind that we have these the peculiarities of these employees. So sometimes it's the employee, the traveler, submitting the trip, but in some cases it's a proxy. So we need to ensure that all these trainings and communication are also available for the proxies, but also for the travelers one. And also something that we experience is that sometimes the employees ends overwhelmed with too many platforms. So we didn't want the employees to think that this is something else, a new platform, and that's all. They need to really understand the benefits of using this tool to ensure that they engage on this process, and also to understand that is very, very important that they follow the process, because this is also linked to compliance, and compliance is a must for Siemens Gamesa. So in this sense, we initially started working, let's say, we created an online platform course where the employees can find different modules. In this module, they have how-to videos and very user-friendly quick guide for the employees and for the travelers and proxies. And this is ready, 24/7 for the employees, so they have access to all these kind of technical trainings with the how-to video. And now we are more focused on the employee awareness on global mobility compliance. So we are launching now an essential training course on this sense, let's say, to make the employees understand that why compliance is a must in global mobility areas, why there are the potential risks for the employee and for the company in case not following the process. So now we are on this way. And the good thing is that we are so lucky, because for all these initiatives we have, let's say, the commitment and the support from the top management of the company, and this is something that definitely really helps, let's say.
Okay, well, maybe we should look at a little bit of the technology. I'm going to bring Tally on stage to show us a little bit of the technology, but just for the avoidance of doubt, everybody in the audience, I think you're going to be blown away by some of this really cool tech. I should hasten to add that we're not going to show, for obvious reasons, anything that is specific or confidential or anything like that, but we are going to show stuff from a live platform. So let me bring Tally on to just help us with the...
Hi, Brian. Hi, Nerea and Kirsten.
And then work with Nerea and Kirsten to go through some of the demo.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it. So here is the employee platform, and Nerea, I think you can help me here.
So you can go there just to create. Let's see an example of how an employee or a proxy can create a trip. Okay, this is something that is very easy. We wanted something that is user-friendly, because this is a must. As mentioned before, we need to ensure that everybody is using the tool. And if it is not user-friendly, definitely the employees will not use. So then the employee just need to filter. As I explained before, we have employees that are working on these rotators that are 15 days in, 15 days out, or even 1 month or whatever. So this is very important information for us, especially for the case management team. So for the service initiation, so that's why we included these specific fields. Also, the project name. Project is very important for us because behind the project, there is all the information, relevant information about the different contract times between the different entities and everything. And this has an impact on assessment, especially on taxes.
Actually, we intentionally chose the no project because we don't want to expose real project names. But yeah, in other cases, once you choose the project, you'll have a whole list of different specifications under it. But we'll keep it this way.
Excellent, no worry, no, that's fine. And that's the thing that we have with the let's say that this tool, with this platform, we have the assessment at a trip level, but let's say, but also at a project level, so we can support further the business because let's say, and also here have the activities. I mean, the employee can choose 1 or 2 activities, and which are also very relevant for the assessment.
Obviously, there it's very important. One of the questions was, are you signing contracts? I mean, obviously, I think everyone on the show will know how significant that is. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, well, we have some relevant information as well as the dates, employment, family. Something that I didn't mention, but is very important here is that we need to take into consideration that this is specifically this section is for short-term assignments. Okay. And when we are talking about short-term assignments, yes, it can be, well, it can be also for business travelers, business trips, or for project-related trips, but not long-term assignments, not people, let's say, that are being relocated to a different country or for more than 1 year. So this is only for short-term assignments, because for long-term assignments, we have another solution also in Benivo platform. But this is specifically for business travelers and short-term assignments. Okay. This information is something that is,
yeah. Go ahead, Nora.
No, just to mention that this information is coming also from Workday. So as Kirsten explained before, this solution is integrated. There is an integration with Workday. So this is very important for us because
so a lot of this will be pre-populated in the real world.
Exactly, it is. I mean, we don't want people to have to enter the same data more than once. So this is one of the Benivo promises. Only once. So whenever you enter the information, even if it's in another platform, we're going to just pull it from there.
Exactly. And that was one of our principles, and also that we want to have in the full program.
Yeah, it's very important for the employee experience. So I think we're done, right? So we can add the trip. So what happens now?
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Nora?
Yeah, that's the good thing that you have seen, that just in less than 1 minute, the trip has been submitted, and now we can have the travel assessment, and the case management team can initiate the global mobility services that are required based on the assessment, let's say.
So I'm going to go. Of course, this one is not a real. It's a demo platform, so it's not going to send it to the assessment. So let's go to one that was made before, so we can see what the assessment means. So
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we're clicking on view your assessment outcome.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
we could
here
have
we have an
one
example
of
the assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, with all the assessment details in terms of posting workers, directives, social security, taxes, and immigration. And based on the if there is an action required, then the case management team can initiate the global mobility services with that are.
So here we need. So here we actually need the tax action. Yep. So we can jump now into the services. And see the next step would be going to services. And yeah, we can see that the tax services was also already initiated.
Exactly. And the good thing is that the employee can have visibility on where we are on the process and these kind of things that before they didn't have. So this is one of them.
Yeah, this is one thing that is really important. We can track the. We talked about it, Brian, before in previous shows, but how at any point we can track the employee can track the progress of all the actions or the services. Yeah, so we can actually see it here.
Absolutely. I call that the pizza delivery analysis analogy, that we can see exactly where we are in the process between, in this case, Siemens Gamesa and their tax provider, to ensure that all the information is dealt with and all filings that are required are dealt with on a timely basis.
Nerea, you mentioned, and Kirsten, you mentioned before the travel certificate. So I think this is something that sometimes is needed for immigration, or
yeah.
So...
Yeah, not in all cases. I mean, in some cases it's just for employee information, because all employees are covered by this travel insurance, let's say. So in some cases, or in most of the cases, yes, that's for employee information, just to keep this document, just in case they need it. But in a lot of cases, it's also a requirement for some immigration processes. So this document is required. So instead of asking the vendor to provide, this is something that the employee can do it on their own, and it's very easy. So they can just, with these 2 or 3 clicks, just they can get this certificate automatically. So this is one of the benefits.
So just like that, there is, obviously it's not a real one, but there is the insurance certificate from, in your case, from Chubb.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've got that, which they'll need as part of their move on to wherever they're going.
Exactly.
That's it. Actually, it's already ready, and I can download it, and I also receive it into my email.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Employees can receive the
employees
or the proxy, if it is someone else managing the trip on behalf of the employee, is the employee or the proxy receiving.
We can go to show the proxies, but I think there's also the invitation letter that can be created.
Exactly, it's the same process with invitation letter. Yeah, invitation letter is required in also, for some in some countries for immigration purposes, and in that case, the employees can easily get this document. It's the same process.
And I think I understood that it's populated based on exactly the requirements of the country. So some countries would need more details. It would be pre-populated. It's just that my details are not not in the system. But
because this is taken from information from Workday. So that's why.
Yeah, obviously I'm not there. Not yet.
Let's move on. We'll take that off screen for the moment, Tally, and we'll come back in a bit and look at it from the other side, the management side. I'll just take you backstage too, Tally, if I may. So, I mean, Tally's going to come back and help us as we look at it from a management point of view. But tell us, Kirsten, what's been the employees' reaction to this?
So, I mean, it's always also a challenge now to introduce such a global program, and that's why, and also as Nerea was saying, also that change management and communication is very crucial. But we have good feedback about the platform, so that they have now everything in one place, so that they can track the progress. Definitely, so they also have some improvement suggestions for us, but this is also why we love to work with Benivo, because you also always give us the chance to implement changes and to discuss our needs. And there we have, very active employees who provide some feedback. But we've just recently asked our employees that have traveled and also how they like the tool, how they like the service around this. And that was overall a very good result. So they are all very happy and see the progress, and definitely are happy that we got rid of the past with the Excel process. And
that's great to hear that, Kirsten. Nerea, I mean, your role is all about communication and change management, or not all about, but I know it's a big part of what you do. What's it been like going through change? Because I mean, there's going to be more change. I mean, that's one of the things we all know in life is, what do they say? The only constant is change. The change is happening. How has it been, sort of, in terms of moving on and developing and being responsive to changes that are needed and changes that might be coming down the turnpike?
Yeah, that's why we are constantly asking the employees for feedback. That's why we are, let's say, taking information from the business. I mean, we are listening also the business about what are their needs, and we are implementing, let's say, or asking for improvements constantly because, yeah, I mean, we need to, I mean, it's not just we have implemented this platform and that's all. We need to implement changes. Actually, now we are very focused on this project concept, what I mentioned before about assessment at a project level to support the business and plan the trips well in advance. And we are very focused on this. So that's why all the trainings and everything we try to make with something that we can keep updated, and we let's say create how-to videos constantly because the platform is changing a lot because we are implementing changes a lot of let's say at any time. So yeah, it's a challenge, but it's something that we really I mean the employees demand, and yeah, that's also
challenge is good. Life would be so dull.
We don't get bored.
We've talked about travel assessments, but of course one of the other things you do on this platform is cost assessments. So tell us a bit about, maybe Kirsten, tell us a bit about what you do with cost assessments.
Yeah, so cost assessment, I mean, we are rather using for the population of long-term assignments and also one-way transfers. And also this is not the massive part of our population. Also the mega program is really on the short terms, but there, and also we are also using Benivo, and also we've put our policy into the tool. So when the managers is requesting a move to a different country, they can see, how much will it cost in the end with all the benefits that we are providing throughout the assignment and also before the assignment, also after the assignment. So, but this is all fully automated. The process is automated in the tool. There's a workflow in the tool that managers can see it in the tool, and the HRBPs are also involved in this.
I suppose one of the benefits of automation, as we've talked about it, is it actually helps the employee experience if they can do things swiftly and they're not double entering data and things are automated, etc. But what about from the management point of view? How much time do you think it has saved you guys in terms of managing the program? We're going to get onto the management platform in a moment, but just generally as a feel for it, I mean, are you finding a massive saving of management time?
So I would put it a bit differently, So I think we now get time to do the better things, So the more valuable things which have more impact in the company, because now we have, with all the good reports we have in the tool, and also we have much better transparency on what is happening, and we also are in a position that we can get even in better contact with the business and ensure that we are involved very early in the process, that we are building our project concept, we are capturing the information in the tool, so the information about the project is available for everybody. And we can also consult the business much more strategically. And also when we go into a project concept and we see that they want to move people from one difficult country in another difficult country, and also we can also consult them whether that it will take time. So if we do these moves, whether it's better to move other people to that side. So, and without the tool, we were never in the position that we have this transparency to do this consultation. Also, it saves time on an admin basis, definitely, but it gives us also, shows us that we have the need to act more strategically together with the business.
Yeah, I remember someone saying to me once that they felt like they were sort of juggling all these balls in the air, and that's what they were doing all the time. And I remember saying to them, well, the answer is easy. Put down some of the balls and just juggle the ones you can. And the benefits of technology is it allows you to put down some of the things that are probably very urgent, but in the scheme of things are not that important. And it allows you to focus your time on the stuff that is strategically important, which is what I think everybody in mobility has always been crying out for, pretty much forever, is just, can we stop firefighting and can we focus on the really strategically important stuff, not just the stuff that is day-to-day urgent. So with that, I'm going to bring Tally back on screen. And Tally, can we maybe with Nerea and Kirsten, look at the other side. We've looked at the employee end, but maybe look at the management side.
So yeah, we can quickly go through the management sides, because I also want to get to the reports, because I think that there's also some a question about it, but yeah, this is the I'm going. It's we are in a live platform, so I'm very careful with what I'm sharing. Before you mentioned the cost estimation, I'm not going to go there because it's a tab that has real information, but here's the cost estimate that we always we talked about before. We have the project tab, which also I'm not going to go into, but maybe Nerea, do you want to talk a little bit about the project without going there?
Yeah, there is where we have all the information related to the projects. What I mentioned before, that we need to identify all the projects in the company, let's say, and we need to analyze all the information, all the relevant information that is behind the projects that might impact on the assessment. So there is a specific section specifically for this.
So so this is again one of the things that make things shorter, and I didn't mention it when we were in the employee side, but as an employee, once I enter, for example, London, I'm going from London, it's going to show me only the projects that are relevant to London, so I don't need to mess with choosing many projects. But at the same time, every project that you enter already has all the specifications, so that it doesn't need to ask me as an employee too many questions. It knows already. So if I choose a certain project, it already automatically knows exactly what are the specifications of my project. Now I just need to say, who am I in the context of this project, so that the assessment can be really easy and very precise.
The employee just needs to select the name. That's all.
Yeah. So here it's from the management side. So you created the project, and now we have the people, and the people are allocated, and they actually allocate themselves. So this is, I think, one of the things that is different from platforms that we showed before, that in this case, it's actually the employee who is creating the trips for themselves. So this is very different. But then you as a manager can always go and see all the details in one place. So the date of the trip, all information. I love the host office location that they ended for me.
Absolutely. Talking of dangerous locations.
yes, but it's only for 2 weeks, so it's okay. So yeah, so all the information is here, and of course, vendors can be initiated from here, and we can also track the progress. So here we have the tax treaty and compliance. We can see the progress of the trip assessment. So everything can be tracked from here. And you mentioned before the assignment letter. Do you want?
So the assignment letter, I think that's the same logic as we saw before with the DocuSign, also as it is for the job certificate or the invitation letter, but it definitely pulls the assignment information into our standard letter. I can see that Michelle has a question about the data entering only once. Also, I think that's definitely something that we want, and whether this data can be changed in the tool. So normally when the data comes from a different tool, we don't want the employee to change it here, but to change it in the origin. Also, if they have the if there's a new passport validity also that comes then from Workday. But if it is trip information, then they change it directly in Benivo.
Yeah, and there's Michelle's the tracking is reporting available specific to any group of assignees in the process.
Yes, and I think we will look at the reports, and also there, definitely, so we can everything what is in the tool more or less you can also put into a report and combine the information. Also, there are different reports that we've agreed with Benivo, and in all reports you can filter for different things, and you always have a nice visualization so that we can really make use of the data and slice it as we need.
Yeah, we actually we actually jumped into a different platform just because we don't want to show live data, but
data, yeah. So this is
pretty much,
yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got a map there as well as where the projects are.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, I mean, you know, was such an eye opener for us, not to have all these reports available and very quickly check about the program, check about the moves, have a good visualization where we are, you know, which are our hotspots. Also, we always thought we know, but it was a very with a lot of effort, to pull all the data out of the big Excel sheet and make use of the data. So this is now much different.
Actually, we have recently, as mentioned before, we are, let's say, implemented changes and improving. So now we have created a new report specifically for the proxies. We have also reports for the global mobility teams, or the global mobility teams in the region, so they can. So yeah, I mean, improving and improving.
Yeah, and in fact, Michelle said this. She said, "Looks like a great project summary page." And I assume the widgets are customizable. Michelle, everything is customized. I'm sure Kirsten and Nerea will confirm is that we do customize absolutely everything for what the client wants.
And actually, again, this report that I've shown is not actually the report of Siemens Gamesa, because we want to keep the data confidential. So this is very similar to what is on the Siemens Gamesa platform.
Yeah, I think that the good thing is that when we work on the implementation of Benivo, I think that the team listened to us, because we have and understood very well what were the needs of Siemens Gamesa, because we have all these let's say these rotators, the technicians, but we also have the business traveler. So and we have a huge volume of our short terms and business travelers. So we definitely have this or need the solution for the long terms, the one-way transfer, but we were more concerned about the short terms and business travelers. And now I think that we are on the way. And yeah.
And how do you combine high tech with high touch? I mean, what do you do with the cases which do need a little bit of special care?
I mean, we have a managed service team now, so, and we also have our global mobility team, and definitely also all the, I would also the one-way transfer, the long-term assignees who normally need more support and preparation of the move. Also, they have their focal point in the organization. Also, I mean, that's where technology is facilitating the process, but the consultation is still happening within personal interaction, and I think that's a good mix. No, so as I said, so we can definitely focus on the valuable work instead of also in your picture. So put down some of the balls and let the technology do the job. Also, when we look at the cost estimate, for example, but definitely the consultation is key. Also to guide the manager and the employee throughout the process.
Okay, it's been absolutely fascinating. I'm going to bring Tally and Christy. I think if I can bring Christy on stage too. So yeah, Julia had to leave us, but we're getting towards the end of our hour. Christy, it was just fantastic having you as our change maker, and thank you for being a change maker. We really, really appreciate all that you do, and good luck with Via Biotechnology. It sounds amazing, some of the stuff you're doing there. And to Kirsten and Nerea, it's just extraordinary what Siemens Gamesa does. If you look at it from the biggest picture, you see these things, or we get these, the results of what you guys make and install, and you don't necessarily think, or I don't necessarily think about what's actually involved. And these people going out, these engineers going out, on a ship for 2 weeks and then going some really difficult location and then coming back and then going out. You can only think what their home lives are like when they're sort of managing that. It's quite, it's a difficult environment. They're working hard. we're using technology to make their lives easier. And we are just obviously delighted to have a partnership between Benivo and Siemens Gamesa. It has been absolutely extraordinary working with you guys. And hopefully the technology we've shown has been of real interest to a lot of people out there. We are back next week when we're going to be talking about the evolution of global mobility. I said we have 92-year-old Fred Piker and his son, Mike Pike, who I think will be known to many. And we're going to be talking about how it all started. So from the very modern stuff we're talking about here, we're going back in time, right back to the mid-1950s next week. And we're going to be talking about how global mobility has evolved over the last 75 years or so. We are out of time. This is The View from the Top. I've been your host, Brian Friedman. Delighted to have with us our special guest today, Kirsten Meyerhoff, Nerea Egior, Christy Castillo, and Julie Onslow Cole, who's had to leave us, unfortunately, and of course, our wonderful producer, Tally Goran. Take care, everybody, and have a great, great week.